This is pre-algebra for Monday, April the 27th. And boy, I sure missed you. I wish you were here. But as it is, we are still doing online classes. So here we go. Now, I hope you had a good weekend. I hope you listened to Brother Ricky or Brother Ubal on the internet. I hope you watched church. I hope you went to church and saw Pastor this weekend, listened to the truths that they presented to help us. You know, a lot of things are going on in our world, and we need God's wisdom and we need God's guidance. And I hope that you are mature enough to realize that, and that you are tuning in and getting fed spiritually. All right, here we go. Let's look at today's lesson. We're going to be on lesson 87. I know that we've done part of this, but we're going to do it again because there's just some review that I want to make sure you have really nailed down before our final. Okay, we will have a final in this class. It's longer than a normal test, so I want to make sure that you're ready for it. Let's look at problem number 10. Problem number 10 on page 246. It says, what percent of 90 is 144? Draw a diagram of the problem. Of course, we're not going to draw the diagram. You may on your scratch paper if it helps you, but I don't require that of you. Okay? What percent of 90 is 144? Well, how do you solve that? First, here's our pattern. Percent over 100. Why is it percent over 100? Because every percent can be written as a fraction over 100. That's what the word percent means. It means 100th, okay? So we have percent over 100, whatever your percent is, times the of equals the is. So let's look at our problem again. What percent of 90? We don't know the percent. So we're going to put percent times the of, and our story problem there said that our of is 90, and that equals our is, and our is 144. Now, what am I going to do with this? I want to make it look like a regular equation because that's what I'm accustomed to. Some of you, it helps you. Some of you are like, I can do it with the way it is. And it doesn't matter to me as long as you are consistent in the way you do it. Right here, I can say, I need to know what the percent is times 90. Well, I need to get rid of the what? The 90. Okay? What am I going to do to get rid of the 90? My problem says to multiply, so I know that I'm going to divide. So I'm going to divide by 90 on both sides. This 90 is going to cancel. All I have left is my P, or my percent. Now what do? I divide 144 by 90. So on a scrap sheet of paper or off to the side, do not do it under here. Do it off to the side or on another sheet of paper neatly, and you're going to divide. Okay, I'm going to put it up here. And I'm going to say, what number goes inside the box? What did I tell you? Whatever's on the top goes inside the box. So we're going to say 144 divided by 90. Okay? 144 divided by 90. Now, what are we going to do? You say, Mrs. Turner, 90 is bigger than that. I know that. So 90 goes into 144 one time. Okay, so we're going to put our 90 down here, and we're going to subtract. Okay, so we have 4, then we say 14 minus 9 is 5. 90 is will not go into 54. So what am I going to do? I'm going to annex a 0. Okay, I'm going to bring this 0 down, and I'm going to say 90 goes into 540 how many times? It goes into it 6 times. So bring your decimal point up. 6. 6 times 0 is 0. 6 times 9 is 54. Okay, so now I have, and I didn't need this extra 0. Okay, so my decimal is 1.6. That's not my answer because my question is what percent? How do you change a decimal to a percent? Move the decimal 2 places to the right. Well, if your decimal's here, you're going to move 2 places. You're going to go 1, 2. What happens since I don't have a number to put there? I annex a 0. So my answer is 160%. Okay, 160%. Look at number 11. It says 2 times 10 to the negative 27th power times 3 times 10 to the negative 10th power. Okay, the first thing I have to do is take those first two numbers here, okay, my 2 and my 3, and I multiply them. I can multiply 2 times 3. 2 times 3 is 6. Okay, then I have my powers of 10. I have 10 to the negative 27th, and I have, I'm sorry, look for the problem, and I have 10 to the negative 10th. What do I do with my negative 27 and my negative 10? They're exponents, so I'm simply going to add them together. And since they're both negative, it's really simple. It's negative 37, okay? So multiply the first two numbers, the numbers you can, and get 6, then bring down the powers. Let's look at the next one. Number 12, it says, write this product in scientific notation, okay? So first, let's write each of them in scientific notation, all right? I have 20,000. I know that my decimal has to go here, doesn't it? Okay, so I'm gonna write 2 times 10. No, I'm gonna take my comma out so it doesn't confuse anybody. My decimal point is over here, and I'm gonna have to move it how many times? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 10, 2 times 10 to the 4th power, okay? Now, I'm gonna go to the other number and do the same thing. Now, I know that when I get here, my decimal point has to be over here, right? Because my number has to be between 1 and 10 when I write in scientific notation. So eventually, I'm gonna get that to over by the 4. How far do I move it? Well, count your spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times. Now, here's my question. This one is moving a different direction because if it's over here and I'm going to make my number, I'm going to be moving it to the left. So my 6 has to be negative. So now I have 2 times 10 to the 4th power times 4 times 10 to the negative 6. Now multiply. Well, 2 times 4 is 8 times 10, and I have 4 plus a negative 6, which is a negative 2. So my answer is 8 times 10 to a negative 2nd power. Now, you could have multiplied them out and then moved it, but this is a lot easier. Let's look at our next problem. I'm going to erase a little here. If I look at our next problem, we're going to use the pattern decimal times the of equals the is. That is the exact same pattern as we use for fractions or for a percent, okay? The pattern doesn't change, okay? So let's look at our next problem. Our next problem says 3/100ths of what number is 9.3? So the first thing you have to do is you have to write 3/100ths. How are you going to write it? You're going to write it as a decimal, okay? So we have 3/100ths. That's the tenths. That's the hundredths, okay? So we have 0.3. Now we have 0.3. It says of what number, so we don't know our number, so we're just going to put an N, equals the is. And what does it equal? It equals 9.3. So put your 9.3 there. Now, what are you going to do? The same thing as we always do. We have to get rid of the whatever number is over here by our letter. It says to multiply by 0.03, so we're going to divide by 0.03. Whatever we do to the left, we have to do to the right, okay? This cancels, leaving us only the n. What do we have over here? We have 9.3. We're going to divide that by 0.03. What do I have to do before I can divide? I need to move my decimal point, okay? Because I can't divide by a decimal, so I have to move it 2 places. But if I move it 2 places in the divisor, what do I have to do to my dividend? I also have to move it 2 places. So 1, 2, it goes right here. Bring it up. Now, 3 goes into 9. 3 times, 3 goes into 1. 1 time, 3 goes into 0. 0 times. My answer, 310. Okay? The thing on this one is to make sure that you move your decimal point both in your divisor, that's what you're dividing by, and your dividend, that's what you're dividing into. Okay? Let's look at number 14. Use 2 unit multipliers. So it means I'm going to use this, whatever I multiply by, I'm going to multiply it by it twice. Use 2 unit multipliers to convert 10 million square inches to feet. Well, first of all, what does square inches mean? It means inches times inches. So I've written it up here as 10 million square inches. Now that we've said that, I'm going to erase my square and I'm going to write times inches because square inches literally means inches times inches, okay? Now, I need to convert this. This is inches and it wants me to convert it to feet. All right, I have to look at that. Yeah, to feet. So my first question is, how many inches are in a foot? 12. I need to put I can say 1 foot equals 12 inches or 12 inches equal 1 foot. It's the same sentence, right? So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to say I need to get rid of the inches. So I'm going to put inches on the bottom. Why? So that I can cancel it out. So 1 foot is 12 inches. Okay, but I'm going to do that twice because I need to get rid of square inches. Okay, so I'm going to put the same conversion factor. Now what happens? I'm going to get rid of my inches because I'm going to cancel out my labels right there. Now I can say 10 million times 1 is still 10 million, right? And then I have 12 times 12 is 144. So what I'm doing is I'm taking 10 million and I'm dividing it by 144, okay? When I divide by 144, you're literally going to divide it out and put your answer down. I'm not going to divide it for you. You have to divide it, okay? Divide 10 million by 144. Make sure, since we're talking about measurements, we're going to put our remainder, it will not come out even, but the remainder must be in a fraction. It must be in a fraction, okay, today. Look at this one. We have 10 million centimeters square. So what are we going to do? We're going to multiply 10 million centimeters squares becomes centimeters times centimeters. And what am I going to do? I'm converting it according to our book. I'm converting 10 million square centimeters to square meters. So I have to say, how many centimeters are in a meter? Well, that answer is 100. Remember, centi means 1/100. Takes 100 of those to equal 1 unit. Okay, so we want to put our centimeters where? On the top or the bottom? On the bottom. Okay, so we have 1 meter over 100 centimeters. Okay, but we're going to do it twice because we have what? Because we have a square unit. Okay, so this centimeter marks out that one, and this one marks out that one. Now we have 10 million times 1 times 1, so we have 10 million as our numerator. What do we put on the bottom? Well, what's 100 times 100? Well, what do we know about that? Write down 100. When I'm multiplying it, I'm going to simply add the number of zeros in the next one. So we have 10,000. Now, how are we going to divide this? Because we surely don't want to have to divide it like we did the one above. We're going to mark out our zeros. Well, there's a 0 there and a 0 there. Here's a 0 and a 0. This 0 and this 0. We were able to mark 4 zeros out. What do we have left? We have 1, 0, 0, 0. So my answer is 1,000 square meters. Okay? Now, make sure that you're doing each of these on paper with me. Don't just watch me do them, and hopefully you didn't bypass the video. That'd be kind of foolish. In fact, when you've watched this half of the video, I want you to comment under the video your favorite color.